Hey YouTube, Untamed here. So I've been meaning to do this video for a little while now, and I know there's probably not too many people who follow my channel who really care this much about this topic, but for the greater good, I'm going to provide my 5 reasons why I believe a full-size SUV just like this one here is the better pick between this and a minivan. So for those of you who haven't seen my channel before, I did used to own a 2023 Toyota Sienna 25th anniversary edition. So that brand new Sienna hybrid power plant, 36 miles to the gallon. It is a real thing and it was phenomenal. So there are a lot of things to love about minivan life. You know, the sliding doors, the fuel economy, just the overall comfort. It is a plush ride, but after having owned both, I can honestly tell you that I do prefer this. My wife and I greatly prefer the full-size SUV here, even if it does come with a couple detriments, and fuel economy being perhaps the largest difference between them. I think on a good day, we average about 16, 17 miles to the gallon in the thirsty 6.2 liter V8 Cadillac Escalade here. So this particular Escalade is the ESV, meaning the longer back end. So you get the longer back end here. Normally on a quote-unquote normal Escalade, you'd kind of wrap up right around here, okay? So you get the extended cargo space out back, and we love it. So what I mean by full-size SUV is this. So this, the Suburban, the GMC XL, Yukon XL, excuse me, like a Ford Expedition Max, things of that nature, even like the larger Lincoln Navigator too. So I'm going to walk through my 5 reasons why I believe the full-size SUV is the wiser option between this and a minivan. So number 1, let's cut to the chase. Sorry, enough blabbing. Number 1 is no compromise space. And that is the most obvious thing right from the get-go here. So you have a very, very large, and forgive me, it is a mess in here, okay? But you have a very large third row, okay? So very large third row, so plenty of space in the second row, and these you can adjust them back and forth if you need, but a very, very spacious third row, okay? That is awesome. When you combine that with the excellent headspace, when you're getting in, these door openings are huge, so plenty of headspace. You'll never have any issue getting the kiddos in and out of your vehicle, which, you can't really say the same about a minivan. It's a little bit tighter when you're getting in and out. So a very large third row, and a very, very large cargo space. So again, excuse me, it is kind of full of crap right now, but we love being able to just kind of throw everything back here. We could throw, as you can see, Exhibit A, we throw our giant, this is a double-decker stroller with a front and rear seating for the kiddos and the 2 seats right here. So a very large cargo space, which we absolutely love. Sorry, get a Sheltie, they said. This one's not ours. So what I mean by that is there is no compromise. You get a tremendous amount of room up front and even greater space out back. Typically speaking, and like what I experienced with the minivan, is we had plenty of room up front, a great third row, plenty of space in the third row too, but very, very minimal cargo space out back. So I kind of wonder how larger families actually make it work out back. So this is phenomenal. You don't have to get creative with the Sienna. We had to get creative. If we're going to try to make this work, we had to kind of position it a certain way and hope to God the rear hatch didn't hit it on the way in, way down. So this, we can just chuck it back here and it works out perfectly. Denver, come here. Sorry, he's losing his mind over there. Hi, buddy. What you doing? What you doing, bud? You okay? Good boy. Give you a pet too. We're pet sitting for a friend. Okay, so all that to say, no compromise in space. Huge third row and a huge cargo space out back, which is perfect. All right, number 2, safety. And I'm gonna get some flack on this one, I know, but hear me out, okay, guys? So even though the Toyota Sienna gets, I'm sure it's a 5-star crash test rating, perhaps even all around, even though on paper it is good, I would still, and I think most people with families would agree with me on this, I'd have a lot more confidence in this. because in that third row in the Sienna, your kiddo Your kiddos are like right here, they're seated right here in the Sienna, and you get a tiny little buffer between that third row and where, you know, in the back of the vehicle. So pretend you are rear-ended by a semi or a very large truck. You get that much of a buffer between that semi and your child. So I don't care what the, you know, the 5-star test rating, whatever, this is too, front and rear, and I think it has a 4-star rollover just because it's a little bit more top heavy given the nature of what it is. But huge safety, peace of mind, I think, by comparison when you get a full-size SUV. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is perhaps, I should have opened with that, the biggest reason, right? So I like knowing if we do get rear-ended by that semi, we get a lot more room between that semi and my kiddos. So that is huge right there. Not to mention, it's just being a bigger vehicle, a huge front end, large engine up front. You get a big buffer up front, whereas the Sienna kind of just went straight down, right? So even in a front end collision, I like knowing that you got a little more metal between you and that vehicle. So all that to say, I know some people will push back like, well, according to blah 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 blah, it's actually best to not, whatever. I like having more buffer, and this has a 5-star crash test rating too. So number 2 is safety. Number 3, and this kind of varies based on where you live, how important this is to you, but the fact that this has a 4x4 capability and a lot more ground clearance, and even this being the Escalade, you know, has a kind of a lower, being dog blocked, has a lower front valance, right? You know, this is already kind of pretty low up front, but it is the Escalade. But overall, you know, on the sides here, you do have a much greater ground clearance all throughout the vehicle. And that by itself, combined with the 4x4 capability, really does give you some better peace of mind. Especially, you know, we live out here in Wyoming, you know, winters get a little rough. You know, granted, I get it. You can get an all-wheel drive Sienna. You can put snow tires on it. It'll be just fine. But having that additional clearance and that ability to switch in and out of 4-wheel drive really is a good factor in my opinion. So the 4x4 capability and the ground clearance are 2 big factors to consider. So that's number 3. Number 4, kind of hand in hand with that, but the overall power and towing capability. And this is huge for a lot of families, I think, but you can tow so much more, of course, with this giant Escalade here, body and frame vehicle with that 6.2 liter V8 up front. So a lot more towing capability. If you have a boat, if you have toys, 4-wheelers, quads, whatever, you're gonna be much better suited in a full-size SUV here compared to that minivan. Not to mention, you know, it looks the part when you're pulling a boat, and not so much a Sienna. So I don't even think a Sienna could really, maybe it could, but it wouldn't look good. So that is number 4, the overall power and towing capability. You can actually get a V8, right? So still having that option to get a V8 in your Suburban, in your GMC Yukon XL, you know, you can still get it. I don't think they offer it in the Expedition anymore, but you get my point. So that is number 4, the power and the towing capability. And number 5, this is for sure going to get some pushback from you guys, but keep in mind, I did own a minivan. I just owned a 2023 Sienna. And both my wife and I, no matter how hard you try, you can't really shake the whole minivan stigma, unfortunately. And you know, and I personally didn't mind it. It didn't bother me that much, but my wife did not love that, especially. You know, the minivan stigma, she hated kind of being the minivan mom. You know, you get kind of that group of moms out there, and she didn't really love being a part of that group. So because of that, not because of that, but that was a driving factor, a driving reason for us to drop the minivan and to try to get into a full-size SUV here. You know, it's not necessarily a negative stigma, but you know what I'm talking about. There is a stigma that follows a minivan that isn't always good. So there you have it, guys. If you get a full-size SUV, you can avoid that minivan stigma and not have to become a minivan mom or a minivan dad. So there you have it, guys. Let me know what your thoughts are. Those are my 5 reasons why I prefer our full-size SUV over that minivan. Thanks for watching. Till next time.